Well, hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Daniel and Vaughn's video. I am deciding to talk about some stuff that I've been seeing a lot of online and been hearing from some people that I know and about the scammers. Yeah, it's really a sad, sad story because a lot of us women, and it happens to the men. It happens to men too, but to the women, that it really gets played to the fullest. Um, so let me just tell you this. When I met my husband, so he didn't tell me his real age. There was one point I think we had known each other for a few weeks or so, and then he was asking me about some money. And I was like, oh no, like I don't know who you are really. I just only known you for a short while. You talking about giving me some land so you could get some money, and because he was in a tough situation. Um, so of course I didn't do it because I know about the scammer stuff, but luckily that wasn't the case. So I was one of the lucky ones who got to meet a real person that was not trying to scam anybody. But it's a lot going on. So I've been there though. I've been scammed before. And I was talking to a guy online for 6 months. We never video chatted. And at this point in time, this was many, 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 many years ago, and I didn't even know anything about online stuff. Somebody introduced me to online dating, and that's how I ended up uh, chatting with this particular guy. And I picked somebody from the US and come to find out he was from Nigeria. And it went on for 6 months, and I didn't know about the video calling, all that kind of stuff. So later on, I ended up finding an article. It was talking about scamming. I was like, no, not this guy. But it ended up being a scammer. So, needless to say, I don't talk to that person anymore. But I would like for you ladies to know, everybody to know that, you got to pay attention to these red flags. If they want to keep your secret, they don't want to introduce you to their families. And even with the family thing, you got to be careful because they'll introduce their family, their wife, as a sister, auntie or something. And I've heard a story where a lady was dating a guy, and she come to find out later that the lady that she thought was his sister and the kids that she thought was his sister's kids was actually his wife and his kids. So you really got to pay attention. You got to really do your due diligence at finding out who you're dating. They're very, very, very slick, especially with the online stuff these days. They got ways of making you think you're talking to somebody in your same country. They got these platforms that they can do video calls to you and show a video of the person that you saw in the picture. But it's really not that person, it's the scammer guy. They've really got sophisticated with a lot of ways of dealing with people online, faking you out. So, just you got to ask a lot of questions. You got to do sneaky things. You got to like catch them in a moment. Test them. Ask something crazy and see what their answer would be. If you're actually around them, tell them to take you to the whole family, and then ask the people around them, like, tell me about this person, tell me about that person, because if they don't know the secret, they ain't gonna do nothing but tell you the truth. So, you just have to really do your part because you got to pay attention to how much they ask you for, how many times they ask you for money, how many times they ask you for help, how many times that they don't have time to come see you, how many times they don't have time for you to come see them. How come you can't go visit their family, how come you can't go to their town, and remember everything that they tell you so you can bring it back on them again later, and then try to get to that part where they was talking about, oh, I'm from this side of the town, okay, well, let's go over there. Oh, a story, excuse why they can't. No, 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 we want to go. If you can't go, then I don't have time, because if you can't prove to me that what you're saying is true, then how am I to believe that what you're saying to me is really real? So you have to really put your questions out there. You have to really press. Don't be scared. Don't be thinking that you can't be without this person, because you can. Because if they're really real, they're going to do the real things. Oh, I'm telling you guys, it's really bad. It's really happening, and it's happening a lot more because the sophistication is really, really sophisticated. So pay attention. And like I say, ask questions, because the scammer stuff. There's women who's lost their homes or jobs because they're giving their money to these men. or they get the guys and they bring them to US, and then they'll fake this abuse from the wife. And then you go to jail. They living in your house while you go to jail, and you can't even come back to your own house because they claimed abuse. So they get this type of protection from immigration that allows them to stay under an abuse law. You guys really, just really, 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 you know. And it's sad that the type of people that they target the women that they think is easy. They target the women they think is desperate. They target the big women. They target women who don't look good. But to me, everybody's beautiful. But that's just how they perceive things. That's just how they think. And then they find someone who has low self-esteem. So regardless if you're big, you're fat, you're skinny, you're tall, you're rich, you're poor, you're cute or you're ugly, have self-esteem about yourself, because there's somebody for somebody. All the time, there's somebody for everybody. You just have to be patient and hopefully that you find that person. So just do your diligence and do your research. Take your time. Don't fall for any old thing. Don't feel like you have to be with a certain person. Don't feel like you're forced to be with a certain person. And don't think that just because you got this person, if you lose this person, that you won't get nobody else again, because you will. There's somebody for everybody. Don't forget too that they also coming in to us women as Christians. They know that, especially the people that believe in God and Christ and their strong religion backgrounds, they will play on that right there. They'll be like, God said that we belong together. God said that we were meant to meet. God said this. God said that. It's God's will. So they will play on all that to get to you. So let me tell you, the one guy that I was telling you about that I was talking to for 6 months plus, it was hard for me to believe that he was a scammer, because that was what he did. He was talking about God and church, and I went into church at the time, and we had got on the subject of I've been wanting to go to church, and so he convinced me to go to the church that I wanted to go to. I went the day, and I liked it, and he talked so strongly that church is where you belong. You need God. Go back to church. Listen, you need Him in your life. He's gonna save you. Blah 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 blah. And I went back to church and got in the choir and Bible study and joined the church and everything. And then later he found out he was a scammer. I was like, how is that possible? Like all this God stuff you was just talking to me about, and you end up being a scammer. Luckily for me, I ended up making him, I confronted him really deeply and really hard. I had to manipulate myself back into him to get him to kind of open up. I had to use our love to get him to come clean about who he was and what he was really doing. So he finally decided to do a video with me. That's how I knew he was from Nigeria. When we did a video call, he was not the person that was in the picture. So you just have to you gotta really be tough about it. And sometimes it's hard. I get it, because you get these feelings. You start feeling for this person. You start, like all these emotions starts coming to you, especially when there's these feelings that you haven't felt in a long time, and that person makes you feel those things, because you can feel those things through chatting and video calling and phone calling and all that kind of stuff. You can actually do those types of feelings. But, you just really have to channel them the right way. So, again, I say, you guys do your due diligence at researching, do your due diligence at questioning, do your due diligence at talking a lot and bringing back up what was said, but bring it up a different way, to try to see if you can catch them in a story. Talk about their family and their kids and everything all the time, because they're not going to remember everything they said all the time. And just switch it up, talk about something and bring it up. Or just say out the blue, oh yeah, you remember when you told me that day that your son or your child that you have, how old was your son again? How old was your children again? Just bring it up like out the blue, and they'll be thinking, oh, did I tell her that? So it'll throw them off. So now they're like stuck. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how they respond. Pay attention to how they act. You just have to do little stuff, to get them to come clean about what they're doing, because it's a bad feeling. It's no joke. And when you are one of those victims, because it just tears you down. It tears you down, and it will take you back into depression. It could take you back into not trusting anybody, and you just have to start all over again. And it's a very hard thing to do, starting all over again when you've been hurt deeply, especially when you've been taken for all you have and you have nothing left to fall back on. So do your diligence work. Pay attention to the red signs. And just know that everybody that says they love you don't really love you. Just know you got to be suspect about everybody. And it's a shame that you have to be, but especially people you meet online, especially the long distance stuff. Because I promise the majority of the time you're not the only person that they're talking to and telling the same things to. So I wish everybody good luck out there on the dating scene. They're out there trying to find somebody. Just know there's too many people out here to have to feel like you're stuck with one, especially in that type of situation. The old school dating is wish it would come back. When you be out, you actually meet somebody, and you can date that person, da 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 da, and go from there. But unfortunately, the times that we live in, this is where we're at. So I wish everybody good luck on the dating, like I said, and pay attention to the red flags. Pay attention to the signs. This is just something I felt like I wanted to say to you guys out there because I've been seeing a lot of this going on out there in the world, and it's a real serious thing. All right, you guys. Like I said, continue to like, share, subscribe, and hit notification buttons for our next videos that are coming up. We don't want you to miss out on anything. All right, you guys. Thank you.